All right. Happy Monday. It is June 15th, 2026. I'm meteorologist Joseph Neubauer, and this is Let's Talk Weather, our next episode here on our podcast series talking about all things weather here in Oklahoma. We even do a little bit of national and also just recapping some of the weather history we've seen in the past and even this past weekend. We have a couple topics to get to on today's podcast. Just want to come on in, say hello to you guys. Great to see everybody here on a Monday, kind of a dreary Monday. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful over the weekend on Sunday. Now, Saturday was not beautiful. We had the storm chances, but it was a really nice Sunday once we got past the rain and lingering cloud cover, and what's left of our cold front is making it beautiful. Even today, a little bit warm. We do have some low rain chances too. But as I peek here at the forecast, it's not looking too bad. Our weather extremes today are all safe. We're not breaking any weather extremes here on a Monday, but for this day in particular, June 15th, you can see our weather extremes there that are labeled. Have the record hottest 105 back in 1953, record coldest, rainiest, and then your warmest low temperature. I don't think we're going to be breaking any of those records anytime soon. I did catch Jonathan a little bit this morning, and we do have some rain, some chances. That'll be later into the evening and overnight up in northern Oklahoma. I had a tiny rain chance for OKC today. Jonathan took the rain chance out. I agree. Don't need it. I think anywhere it's going to rain in Oklahoma, it's going to be probably on the north side of the state where there is a tiny severe risk. And, they might move this severe risk a little bit further east, but this will be still mostly just wind and hail, northern Oklahoma, evening and early overnight. Not super concerned about it. The heat, the summer heat, don't have to wait long for it to come back. We will be back into the 90s with heat indices pushing near 100 by your Tuesday afternoon. And as we look into Wednesday, probably our first realistic chance in Oklahoma City to get to 100. This upcoming Wednesday, June 17th, will be our first chance to get to 100 for OKC this year. The average first 100-degree day in OKC, July 9th. So we'd be about 3.5 weeks early if we were to hit 100 on Wednesday. The earliest ever 100-degree day we've ever had in Oklahoma City, April 12th. That was 1972. By the way, rain chances are sticking around a little bit. We will have some better chances tomorrow during the afternoon. I think these rain chances, what we had this weekend, what we have on Tuesday, what we have on Wednesday, these rain chances the next few days will probably keep us from getting out of control in terms of a 100-degree day chance. It seems pretty unlikely. By the way, we do have a severe weather risk Wednesday night into Thursday morning as a cold front moves in. This will shut down triple-digit heat potential by the end of the week. It's a 1 out of 5 right now for north central Oklahoma Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We'll keep an eye on it. But I think just like this tiny collection of severe weather chances and rain chances over the next 4 or 5 days will be enough to keep us from hitting 100 in Oklahoma City. But this Wednesday, we will have a chance. By the way, the rainfall that we got this weekend, I really do think shuts the door, at least temporarily, from hitting 100 in Oklahoma City. I mean, look at central Oklahoma. That is some really good stuff. 1 to 3 inches of rain. 1 to 3 inches of rain in Oklahoma City, in the metro, This goes down into parts of Cleveland County as well. North central Oklahoma, Grant and Kay counties where we had the wind damage from Saturday night, 3 to 4 inches of rain. So this is the state of Oklahoma. The town names are not labeled, but you can kind of find where you are generally. The middle of this map is the OKC Metro. The right side, north right side of this map, top right side of this map is the Tulsa Metro. Eastern Oklahoma there on the right side of your screen, Western Oklahoma on the left side of your screen. We all got a pretty good drink of water. I'd say the ones that were left out, and I don't know what Jonathan Conder did, but he and Piedmont, they missed out on some rain. Canadian County was kind of left out, as was Kingfisher and Blaine counties. This was the rainfall specifically from Sunday morning, Saturday night. It says today's rainfall. Just ignore that. This was the rainfall from Saturday night, Sunday morning specifically. And man, we got hit right in the middle of the state and eastern Oklahoma too. So that's where the drought is pretty bad, although I expect where the drought is worst, near Hinton and Clinton and Elk City and Cheyenne and Sealing and Woodward, there was not enough rain. So where you see the darkest of the red, we kind of struck out. But we do have some red drought here in OKC, and what we got these past few days should be a really good thing. So that's the drought monitor. Got some really good rain. I'll back up just to show you again. This was the rainfall from Saturday night into Sunday morning. 1 to 3 inches of rain. That's the recap. And that intersects really well with some of the drought that we have here in central Oklahoma. Western Oklahoma, still a lot to be desired. There was some rain. If we back up over the 3-day totals, there was some rain Friday into Saturday. So not all is lost, but there really is a big gap in Western Oklahoma that I would like to be, eradicated. We need this drought to go away. And there's some pretty decent chances for rain. The signal's not really going away. One other thing I want to mention, too, about the weekend, and I think this probably, comes without any surprise. We did have some pretty bad, severe storms. It started on Friday evening, where we had some severe thunderstorms that went up across the panhandle of Oklahoma and even parts of northern Oklahoma. You're looking at wind reports here and some tornado reports, too. There was one in Arkansas. This is for Friday evening. If you see blue, that's a wind report for damaging winds. If you see green, that's a hail report. If you see red, that's a tornado report. And we're looking at Friday's severe weather reports. And there was a really, really high wind gust on Friday night up in Ava, Oklahoma. That's in Texas County. I can't label on these graphics quite as well as I do when I'm doing the Facebook Lives. But on the left side of your screen, where we have the panhandle, that's a 96 mile per hour wind gust at the Ava Mesonet site north of Guyman. That's incredible. A 96 mile per hour wind gust. This was Friday night in the panhandle of Oklahoma. I'd say the worst of the severe weather, though, came the very next day on Saturday during the evening up in Ponca City, up in, obviously, Medford, Grant County, Newkirk. All of the blue here Saturday night are damaging wind reports. And as we look at the Mesonet, the data that I've sort of stored here, that is a 61 mile per hour wind gust, a 76 mile per hour wind gust, and a 62 mile per hour wind gust on the north side of the state. 59 up there in Woods County. Just look at the top side of your screen here. These are all of the severe wind gusts. The 40s, the 50s, and then the red labeled 60s and 70s. The 76 mile per hour wind gust in Newkirk near Ponca, which they did have a 60 plus mile per hour gust in Ponca City as well, that caused lots of damage. We were up there on Sunday. Tyler and Patrick, two of our reporters here at KOCO5, were up there. The Sunday wind gusts weren't nearly as bad. Once we passed midnight, basically, the severe side of this system really bowed out. But it was not good. You can see some shed damage here. This was from, I believe, Nick Smith. He was out driving. Had more power line damage, too, from Ponca City. So Nick and then Jason Hill, our chasers, were out. Here's more pictures from Ponca City from Nick Smith, our KOCO5 storm chaser. This was wind damage in Ponca City, where we did have 70 plus mile per hour wind gusts, 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts if we want to just do a range. This severe thunderstorm that hit Ponca later in its life was warned for 80 mile per hour gusts. There were actually two different cells that hit Ponca City. Ponca City has just been a magnet. And they had a rodeo going on there. And they had a severe storm that moved in that brought some initial damage. And then there was a second cell that produced more severe wind gusts. So it was like 2 rounds between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. up there in Kay County. More pictures from Nick Smith. Early on through the storms on Saturday night, they were also rotating, and they were right along a boundary, and these were tornado-warned storms for a little while, and Nick caught this lowering of the storm that would go on to produce wind damage in Ponca City. This was what it looked like as he looked into it from the southeast. Of course, the rotating wall cloud. That's what Nick and Jason were both looking at. Did not get a confirmed tornado or any form of confirmation on this, by the way, from Nick or Jason with the tornado on the ground. The worst of the damage from Saturday, though, came on Highway 177 near Ponca City. Over 3 miles of power lines went down on Highway 177. And I believe as of Monday here, June 15th, they're still working on this. This was really bad. Straight line wind damage. Again, I'm not floating the idea of a tornado just because we had our chasers in the right spot. Of course, the Weather Service will be out there to confirm for us. I did not see any indication, but there was some really bad downbursting and straight line winds. It's a bad combination. Rear flanking downdraft is the winds that rush out of a supercell. Those played a miniature role with straight line. And then I've also saw a couple downburst signals too from our velocity data. Either way, wind is wind, and this is what the result was on Highway 177. Here's the picture from Jason Hill. Jason was in Grant County, and he had probably had the best view of the rotating part of this storm before it moved into Ponca City, Newkirk, and Kate County. Jason was on this storm. He was first on this storm. And if it were to produce a tornado, he would have been in the literal perfect spot. He was on Highway 11, sitting south of this storm in Grant and then eventually Kay County. Highway 11 going west to east. He was in Blackwell for a time as well, watching this thing from the south. Man, he was in a really good spot. Rain was not a huge issue for him. He had great visibility. As the storms continued to kind of explode through the evening, they also produced some pretty hot temperatures. We had some heat bursts in central western Oklahoma. Sealing, Oklahoma, for example, they had some severe storms that were moving in out of Kansas that were collapsing. And as storms collapse, they can oftentimes bring down lots of air from up above. And as air descends rapidly from, let's say, 10,000 feet to the surface, that air compresses and it warms. And as you look at this temperature graph, from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, the temperatures in Sealing, Oklahoma went from the 80s up into the mid-90s, 97. Sealing, Oklahoma went from what looks like about 85 degrees to 97 in about 20 minutes. That was as severe storms were kind of falling apart near Sealing. So on this map, Sealing is where you have the 91. On the left side of your screen, top left side of your screen where it says 91, you see that little red splotch there, like a heat map almost? Yeah, we had some really, really warm temperatures spitting out of these storms. And Sealing had that heat burst. And you get those this time of year. They're really interesting. So it was a busy weekend. We got lots of rain. Grant and Kay counties got lots of severe storms. But then what came next was a really nice cold front on Sunday. And here on Monday, the national view, we're all kind of enjoying beautiful temperatures. Look at the national view, all that green and blue. This is a really strong cold front that hit not only Oklahoma, but it hit Texas, it hit Louisiana, it hit Mississippi, Illinois. They had some bad storms there in the Midwest a couple days ago that Michaela talked about. This is a big, unusual cold front for the month of June. So we're feeling the cool, high temperatures for this time of year. The low temperatures, especially up north, 40s and 50s. We even had some 50s here in parts of the state today. But like all things, it will come to an end. I do want to highlight that we do have more severe weather risk state and countrywide back on Wednesday. Already have an enhanced risk, which if you have an enhanced risk 3 days out, That should catch your attention. And for our friends in Missouri, which last week they had a tornado emergency there in northern Missouri, there's just more and more storms coming for our friends in Missouri and parts of Illinois. They've had some bad tornado outbreaks the last couple days. They're getting a break right now, but there's more on the way. And that'll be Wednesday. I'll be watching that closely. This is with a cold front that's going to move in, by the way. It will bring some severe potential to northern Oklahoma. We'll watch for OKC Wednesday night into Thursday. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center does not have any highlighted risk for Thursday morning for OKC or central Oklahoma, but I think that may change. Hey, elsewhere in the National View, and there actually are a couple things cooking right now on the National View. I don't often spend a whole lot of time on the national side, but this is the National Hurricane Center's outlook. And they're watching an area right in northern Mexico, area of low pressure that's going to spin out. A trough of low pressure was located over northern Mexico. This low pressure trough is going to drift northeast, reemerging over the northwest Gulf late Tuesday or Wednesday. Environmental conditions over the next few days as this area of low pressure moves into the Gulf may support tropical development. Regardless, it's going to be lots of heavy rain for the Texas and Louisiana Gulf Coast. Heavy rain, flash flooding, gusty winds. 30% formation chances. Kind of interesting. This is not a tropical system, by the way, that will affect Oklahoma. We've had some really interesting tropical systems that have impacted Oklahoma, like Tropical Storm Aaron, the remains of Aaron. You guys might remember this. Jonathan loves to talk about Aaron. This is a really unusual system. This is the snapshot from 2007 from Norman, where the remnants of Aaron developed and re-strengthened right over central Oklahoma. You can see the eye, the spiraling bands. This was overnight Saturday to Sunday. This was in August of 2007. But this was like a crazy tropical event, and we don't really get these that often in Oklahoma. But Aaron was one that you might remember. For our older viewers, you might remember this, almost the 20-year anniversary of this. Again, it happened in August. This is not the anniversary. But I did want to highlight that we've had some tropical systems that have taken a route. Usually they have to come through Texas. So you see Aaron's track here, right? You see Aaron's track? Usually you need a tropical system to kind of impact Texas, and then it'll make a trip north, and then it'll veer to the east. A very unique system here that dumped a lot of rain. Eakley, Oklahoma was the spot that got over a foot. The Mesonet at the time also had anywhere from 3 to 9 inches of rain here in central Oklahoma. That's really unusual. So sometimes tropical systems can hit us here in Oklahoma. Not lately, but one of these days. That's how statistics work, by the way, and I'm keeping an eye on comments, too, in case you guys have any questions. The last topic, or one of the last topics I'm going to talk about on today's podcast, Happy El Nino. I talked about this last week, but as of today, as of a few days ago, El Nino is officially here. Last time we talked about El Nino, it was not technically here, but El Nino conditions have developed. This is official. You see that red in the middle of the screen there? That's the Pacific Ocean you're looking at. You see South America, all that dark blood red that's right off the coast. That's the part of the Pacific that they are monitoring. And yeah, I checked the Climate Prediction Center's site. We are officially in El Nino advisory. So as we look at the Pacific Ocean and we look at the sea surface temperatures, they are anomalously above normal. The red means warmer than normal, and there you go. El Nino has kicked in. So we're going to be locked in with this very likely through the end of the year. The probabilities are very, very high that we're going to be in this for quite a bit. Let me see here. there's over a 60% chance that we have a very strong El Nino through the end of the year as well. So while the chances that we have an El Nino through the end of the year is essentially 90% or higher, we could have a strong El Nino, a very strong El Nino just as well. And the probabilities there are quite high too. There are different parts of the Pacific Ocean that we can look at for temperature difference and anomaly. In every part of the Pacific that we monitor for El Nino, it's all above normal. So temperatures were blue for a time. They were below normal. Now they flipped to above normal. Every part of the Pacific we monitor for El Nino is reading red, or orange in this case. This is kind of scientific for 10 a.m. on a Monday, but all you need to know is that every sensor we have in the Pacific is screaming at us right now. El Nino, warmer than normal, well above normal. We're getting there. And with the sensors and the data and the background we have, it ain't going anywhere. So that's the simplified version of what all of these graphics mean. So the El Nino impact, again, just to reiterate, it will bring cooler and wetter conditions to Oklahoma through the fall and winter. But the picture on the bottom of your screen here, this is the impact through the summer months. You can see where the United States is on the right side, June, August. There is no El Nino impact. There's very little impact in the summer months. Now, I think El Nino might be playing a small role in the enhanced rain that we've gotten this June. But I think as we get into July and August, the direct correlation between El Nino and what's going on in Oklahoma softens up. You can't really do a one-to-one correlation in the summer just because the jet pattern is so weak. But in the winter, we'll be able to see it from point A to point B about what El Nino is doing to our weather. So get ready for what will likely be a wet fall and a wet winter. Could mean some more snow, colder than normal temperatures at times. I'm going to finish up with weather history. There's not that much at this point in the calendar. The only thing I could find for June 15th was that we had some really bad temperatures back in 2016 on this date. Heat indices that went well over 110, which is not surprising. Had some severe storms back in 1968 on this date as well in Chickasha. And it was determined that they were potentially stronger than 100-mile-per-hour winds in Chickasha on this date in 1968, but they couldn't prove it. The only other weather history I can find for this zone of time goes back to June 14th, which was yesterday. Did you know June 14th, so this was yesterday, Sunday, did you know June 14th of 2010 was our wettest day ever? For Will Rogers, Oklahoma City, our official climate site in Oklahoma City. June 14th of 2010, our wettest day ever for the OKC climate site. Look at that bullseye in Oklahoma County. So the very middle where you see that pink, that's Oklahoma City right there, y'all. We had 7.62 inches of rain. Over 7.5 inches of rain on the 14th of June of 2010. So that was the anniversary yesterday, the 16-year anniversary, by the way, of our wettest day ever for Oklahoma City. Not today. It's not an anniversary today specifically, but I couldn't go without mentioning that. Our wettest ever day was yesterday, 16 years ago, 2010. All right, I got a couple minutes here. I don't see any comments. I don't see any questions, but I do like to keep the very end of the show open for any weather phenomenon questions. Any questions about weather? Anything at all? Let me know. I know I pretty much breezed over El Nino. But that's usually a very hot topic, is any questions pertaining to El Nino and what's going on there. Any weather questions about the forecast right ahead of us. I'll give it a minute and then I'll go ahead and hop off here. I'm always really excited about Wednesdays because that's when Michaela and I get to be in studio together. So that's going to be a podcast to listen or watch in just a couple days. That would be on the 17th of June. And considering the weather is going to get a little bit busier by Wednesday, I think we're going to have some interesting stuff to talk about from a forecasting standpoint in just a couple days. But I've been on here for about 20 minutes. You know, we're thinking about our friends in Ponca City, Kay County, Grant County. They just cannot catch a break from severe weather. Keeping an eye on the damage there. Got some really good rain at the very least. We finally kind of broke the seal here in OKC and got our rain on Saturday night, Sunday morning. So there will be some drought improvement this week. Western Oklahoma, where the drought is the worst, I don't think we're quite there yet with drought removal. It's going to be a little bit. It's going to be a little bit till we get the drought removed. We need more weekends like we just had. We need more days like we've just had with lots of rain. And yeah, Robert, I would expect probably a cooler winter. Like we've talked about with El Nino, it every time I come back on here with an El Nino health check, you can call it that, it just looks better and better and better. El Nino is stronger and stronger and stronger. The forecast for El Nino this winter is better and better and better. I feel like every time I get back on here with the microphone, I'm just like, yep, the data looks stronger. The data looks more certain. And with the data looking stronger and more certain, yes, that would correlate to a cooler and cooler winter. Now, are we talking about like something from 300 years ago where we're just buried in feet of snow and it's almost like a cartoon? No, it's Oklahoma. We may have some snow days, some ice. You know, temperatures might kind of veer below normal, but I'm not going to get lost in hyperbole at this point. It'll be a cooler than normal winter from that perspective right now based on the forecast. I don't think I'm going to go crazy just yet with any specific forecasts or anything like that. Checking a few more avenues here to see if there are any other questions. I think that's it. So this is the Monday episode of Let's Talk Weather here on the 15th of June. Michaela and I are back in studio on the 17th. That's Wednesday. And we're going to have some fun stuff to talk about then, too. For now, I'm going to get ready for some other duties here at KOCO 5. I appreciate you hopping on the podcast. If you have any viewer questions, any questions about weather phenomenon, it doesn't even need to be Oklahoma specific. The podcast is called, Weather Watch. Let's talk weather. Let's talk about it. Appreciate you guys joining the pod today. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I'm going to play out some music for you.